Hey everyone, welcome back to TBM Sports. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. Let's talk Saturday college football. All right, I'll give you guys my best bets, and we will get into the big game a little bit more so than the other games on the slate. Michigan and Ohio State, noon kick as always. Not necessarily a lot of implications for the postseason that we've seen in the last few years. Michigan does look to win 5 straight games against the Buckeyes, that they have not completed that feat since the 1920s. But I will share with you guys my predictions and how I see that game playing out. Michigan's going to need some help. Even if they were able to beat the Buckeyes, they will need some help from other Big Ten teams and some cards to fall in their direction if they do want to have a shot at playing for the Big Ten title. However, if they do win the game, very live to make the college football playoff, okay? I think it'd be very hard to keep them out. Also, Ohio State, if they do lose, and they have the slim potential to lose that opportunity to have a first-round bye in the field of 12, okay? So let's get into it, guys. If you are new here to TBM Sports, we talk sports betting every single day. College football, it's almost concluding. However, if you haven't hit the like button or subscribed, please do so now, and let's run the board. Let's talk Saturday college football, and we will use Outlier to break this all down. If you aren't using Outlier, there is a link for a 7-day free trial. Sign up today. Best betting tool in the industry, in my opinion. Okay, so let's look at it. We have a ton of rivalry games in the state of Kentucky, the Bourbon Bowl, if you will. Kentucky and Louisville will be a fun one to watch. Not the season Kentucky fans have wanted, 5-6 on the year. Louisville, a couple big wins, but still 7-4 on the season. No play for me officially here in this game, but it will be a fun one to watch. However, you're gonna have to have multiple TVs going on because there is a lot of big time ball games to talk about, okay? And let's get into the first one that I think has some notoriety. Pittsburgh and Miami, the Hurricanes. Boy, have I heard enough about the Miami versus Notre Dame, the head-to-head discussion that has been going on X. And guys, if you don't follow me on Twitter, X, please join the conversation. That link for my Twitter page is in the description below as well. Give me a follow over there, all right? Only 500 subscribers. So for the 10,000 plus that do watch me here on YouTube, every single one of you guys should be following me on X. So please do so if you haven't done so by now. But this is where Pittsburgh, freshman quarterback, I think that when we talk about it, it's something where he has gotten better throughout the course of the season. And for all things considered, the Miami-Notre Dame debate really just does end if Pittsburgh is able to win this game at home. For me, guys, the way I look at it, right, if you want to take the 7 with Pitt, I don't mind it. Pat Narduzzi and company 8-3 on the year. Notre Dame really did take them behind the woodshed, really outside of that last timeout in the last seconds of the game. This is one where Pittsburgh only had 7 points in that contest. So, for all things being equal, a little bit misleading of a score. It was much worse than what the final ended up being. And a lot of people are going to be looking at the head-to-head and comparative matchups, which I don't use for handicapping purposes. But they're going to be looking at how much did Miami beat Pittsburgh by more than Notre Dame beat Pittsburgh, okay? Common opponents does play a role, I guess, in the discussion, not for me as a bettor, but for the group of journalists and athletic directors that unfortunately make the decisions on who wins the national championship or at least plays for it. It will be very much something that people will have their eyes on within the college football world. Okay, in this game, Carson Beck in a big game. Hard to kind of go with him, okay? As a record for a starter, he's been outstanding in his tenure in college football. However, this is going to be a game where Miami has to come up north, play in the cold, play in the wind, just a little bit different of a setting than it is in South Beach. I like the Panthers, okay? Not enough for me to make it an official play, and I will recap my official best bets at the end of the video, but I think this is just kind of how we dot the I with the Miami-Notre Dame discussion. Chaos always does ensue, and I just definitely think that Pittsburgh's more live in this game than people lead on to believe, and the 7 points that you can get for the Panthers, very attractive here in this spot. Okay, next game, we'll talk Clemson, South Carolina. Kind of interesting to see South Carolina almost a field goal favorite here in this rivalry spot at home. I do think that Clemson has kind of played better down the stretch than they did start off the 2025 campaign. But as we do look at Lenore Sellers in South Carolina, this is one where I think that they do play hard. I would be very hard pressed to not see South Carolina be competitive here in this game. Kind of like the Gamecocks here, -2.5, no official play. Texas Tech and West Virginia, big number, 23.5 points for the Red Raiders. They are going to dot the I. I think this one will be a blowout. I think Texas Tech, when healthy, and I said this preseason, and that's why I have a futures ticket on them, Texas Tech, and I also do have a Heisman ticket on their quarterback, but still, that's another conversation. But Texas Tech here in this spot, I think they do literally destroy West Virginia. When healthy, I think they're a top 5 team in college football. I've been saying that for pretty much the entire, since dating back to the preseason. So I do like Texas Tech to win in a blowout. Defense is legit. Offense can move the football and score at will. So I would kind of lean towards Red Raiders here in a blowout. So let's talk about it. Let's get into the big game, Ohio State and Michigan. This number was very interesting, and I did talk about it with one of my family members, because at one point, Michigan was plus 23.5, okay, in this spot. And I said, boy, that's a interesting, a hell of an arbitrage opportunity where you can create a window, laying a big ticket, Michigan plus 23.5, and you knew once it got closer to game time, this number would move, okay? And if you found a book that would take that action, you can come back on the other way now and take the Buckeyes -9.5 and really just have plus 100. So as long as the game falls between 10 and 23, you'd win it on both sides, creating that window. And I think that's kind of where you could have had some opportunity there. Now, spread -9.5 on both ends. I just want to stay away from this game. I told you guys I don't traditionally bet rivalries, and this is one where I have done really good and really bad trying to bet. Okay, so I'm staying away from the side in total. For my money, guys, and I'm kind of on an island with this one, and I will be honest with you, Bryce Underwood has been playing better. I don't like his release. I know he's a freshman. I know he's, very young pup out there. He will be at home, but still, this game is not unlike any other in college football. There will be a lot of added stakes. Ohio State's defense is legit, okay? But I'm in the camp that Ohio State really just hasn't done it for me, okay? And I will tell you guys why, and I could be dead ass wrong in this argument. This is very objective in my opinion. Outside of a lot of the fanboys, I am from Ohio, so I do get to run into a lot of those people. So very interesting to have objective conversations about Ohio State. And you guys know my loyalties to Notre Dame. So I try to stay as objective as I can, because if I'm not, I can't win money. Okay. So trust me, I bet Ohio State in the national championship game last season, and that was not one to stomach. However, we did enjoy cashing that ticket. So that's what it's all about. But as we look at this game, and let me talk about it because I think you guys need to hear what I have to say. Let's look at Ohio State's schedule, okay? Now, we're going to take Texas out of the conversation because I'll get to that a little bit later. Grambling State, OU, Washington, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Penn State, no coach, no quarterback, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, okay? Now, in those games, they've not given, I think 50% of the games, they didn't give up a touchdown. 50% of the games, they only gave up 1 touchdown. Outside of the Illinois game that they did give up 16 points, that's the season high total, okay, for any team going against the Buckeyes this season is to the Illini, okay? And outside of that turnover by Ohio State, Penn State wouldn't have scored 14, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, this has been a team that has been very strong to the under as we do look at them to the number, okay? Ohio State is 7-4 to the under on the season, okay? But for me, guys, look at Texas. 14-7, and if you rewatch a tape, if you have 10 minutes, go watch the condensed highlights and the big plays of that game on YouTube. You will see that the Longhorns, they did not convert a lot of 4th downs, and there was about 4 or 5 plays where Texas should have won that game. Okay, and I understand it was Sayan's first start. It was Arch Manning's first start in the in the shoe. I understand all that. Okay. But 14-7 for the Texas-Ohio State outcome, all things being considered, that game should have went in favor of the Longhorns. And that just kind of goes to what I'm trying to say, because I'm not the biggest fan of Texas this season, okay? So I understand it's week 1. I like to throw that one out the window, but I'm just trying to be as objective as I can. I just don't have any data points okay, on Ohio State, I understand it's Division I college football. It's hard to play the defense that they're playing. And like Urban Meyer said on Fox, all they have to do is basically score 20 points and they will win any single game against anybody because of how good that defense is. I just haven't seen the data points, okay? Rutgers is absolutely atrocious offensively. UCLA, I understand they went on a little 3-4 game run. Probably one of the worst teams in Division I. Purdue, absolutely horrible team, okay? 34-10, very similar to what Notre Dame put on them. Penn State, no quarterback, no coach. Penn State still had some effectiveness against that defense, although Penn State did give up 38 points, okay? Wisconsin, they haven't scored a point all season, okay? 34-0. I understand that. That's a great win. Is it, though? We've seen other teams play against Wisconsin doing the same result, okay? They're doing what they need to do against subpar competition. And I'm not making this the case saying, oh, Ohio State's overrated. Take the Wolverines. That's not it at all. I still think Ohio State wins and covers. I just don't know if the love for Ohio State is warranted because we haven't seen any data points to back up what they're doing on the field, okay? Minnesota, 3 points, okay? Minnesota, we saw the Northwestern game. I mean, we're talking about teams that just because they're in the Big Ten doesn't make them any better or worse than what they actually are, okay? It's bad data. The Washington game's probably Ohio State's best win of the season, just being honest, okay? Probably their best win of the season. So that's nothing I'm going to hang my hat on. I just don't have any data points to effectively handicap Ohio State and actually how good their defense is. Personnel-wise, fantastic. Caleb Downs, go down the list. They got some newcomers coming into the fold, playing some great ball, arguably better than their defense was last year, and they were the best defense in the country. So it isn't kind of FUD on Ohio State. It's just I wish we had a couple other strong data points, and hopefully Saturday against Michigan does deliver. However, I'm not really in the camp of saying that Michigan is any good either, okay? Very misleading Big Ten records, 9-2, 7-1, bad loss against USC. Physical, less USC, right? They got manhandled by Oregon. Notre Dame took them back behind the woodshed as well. I just don't see it, okay? So if Ohio State has their way with Michigan, that isn't really a data point either outside of just being a rivalry game, okay? So it's a great run. They're looking to go 12-0, number one team in the country. Tip my cap. I just don't see it as much as I want to, right? I want to just say, oh, Ohio State's best team since sliced bread. Let's just lay 10 grand on the Ohio State National Championship repeat, okay? I can't get there with the data points to allow me to make that bet as much as I want to, right? I want to bet Ohio State heavy right now to win it all. I want to trust that they're the number one team in the country. Just have not seen the data to back up that, okay? So it leads me to my best bet. Bryce Underwood in this big game, rivalry game, I think he will struggle. I think Michigan's going to try to take the ball out of his hands as much as they can. I think they're going to look to establish a run. And as we look at it, guys, this is where Michigan, they're running the football, okay? So I do think that if Michigan can run the football against Ohio State, scoring will be low. Sayan has not been under pressure once this season, okay? He's not had to make any come-from-behind plays. Arguably, the game against Rutgers last week, albeit was 42-9, that was the closest game at halftime I think we've seen in a while for the Buckeyes, okay? And I know it's the look-ahead spot. I know that the week before the big game, both teams seem to struggle historically. So maybe it's a little bit of that, but I just haven't seen Sayan be, I guess you would say, tested, okay? So I just don't have enough actual data points to trust what my eyes want to tell me with the Buckeyes, okay? That's just what it comes down to. Leads me to my best bet. We're going to go into the team, the game lines for the half, okay? Because this game is win or go home. It's do or die for the Wolverines. And this is kind of where we look at the first half total. I will be betting the under 22.5, minus 108 on FanDuel. Now, I know you guys are saying 22, that's a weird number. Why are you taking 22? Well, it's minus 108 on FanDuel. 21.5 is minus 110 on DraftKings. So get an extra point. What the hell for 2 less cents of juice, okay? That's my best bet for Ohio State, Michigan. And it'll be a very fun game to watch, as always. Hopefully it does deliver. And interested to see these two young quarterbacks play against each other in what looks to be a very, very intriguing matchup, okay, as Michigan looks to make 5 straight against the Buckeyes. So that's where I'm at. Next game that we're going to talk about, don't have any plays in any of these games in between. We will go down the board a little bit. BYU's big favorites, 17.5 at home against UCF. Kind of intriguing. I thought about it a little bit, but not going to get involved. I do want to talk about I will have a teaser leg for the Friday and Saturday college football games. Teaser bet, I should say. I will share that with you guys because there's a lot of weird games that I think are touchdown favorites that I think that they're going to win no matter what. You're not supposed to tease college football, but we're going to do it. So a little money line parlay, basically. I'll share that with you guys over on the Discord, and we'll talk about that. But as we go down the board, I want to share with you guys my other best bets, okay? And that's where we're going to find ourselves talking about Vanderbilt in Tennessee, okay? This is a game where I think that Diego Pavila, a lot of offense, both sides. I think Tennessee is a little bit pissed off. Rivalry game here in the state of Tennessee. I think Tennessee scores at will in a 2.5-point spread. This game may have overtime written all over it, but I still like scoring, okay? And that is why it's going to make my card as another best bet. We're going to take Tennessee and Vanderbilt. We're going to go over 65.5 at -110. That will be a bet that I will be making. Oregon and Washington, intriguing. Do kind of like the Huskies, +7, okay? Oregon may have their foot off the gas. They are on the road, a little bit worse team on the road as well. Huskies are strong. They got the running back 8-3 on the season. A little bit of a quarterback that can make plays on his feet, dual dynamic threat. I think that Washington is, I don't want to say live, but I just think that they do have, I think a touchdown may be too many points here in this game. So I kind of lend towards the conversation of the side of the Huskies here within Washington. All right, and then last game that we're going to talk about, and I know I went on about the Ohio State-Michigan game a little bit too long. That's okay. It's worth it. Rice and South Florida, okay? We saw what North Texas was able to do against Rice offensively. South Florida and Byron Brown, the fastest show on turf. I think South Florida here in this spot gets us over the total, okay? And that's where I took a 58.5 with some juice. The number has climbed down a little bit, but still, I do like the over. I think Rice, as long as they get into the 20s, South Florida will deliver on the other side of the ball. So I look at this game, 20s to 40s, 60 points combined at least. And South Florida has been one of my most profitable teams in college football based on my numbers, betting overs and totals within their team totals and full games. So give me South Florida Rice. We're going to go over 59 or 58.5 was the best number I was able to find here in this spot. Okay. And last one, the Iron Bowl. Everybody wants to know about it. Auburn and Alabama. I won't have an official play. Okay. This is one where I don't bet rivalry games, okay? And the Crimson Tide -5.5. I know that Auburn sat their quarterback, preserving his red shirt. This is a game that I'm going to pass on, okay? And I had somebody in Discord ask me about this game. This is not a bet for me. There's no edge. It's a fishy number, okay? Alabama needs to win this game. Will they win by 6? Ty Simpson and company? Who knows, okay? But it would not shock me whatsoever. We've seen worse rivalry outcomes where, you know, Alabama goes on the road, plays in this spot, and loses outright. So very intriguing. I do kind of find myself favoring Auburn plus the 6 if you can find it, but I'm not going to bet this game. I just wanted to talk about it. This is a game that I'm going to stay away from. And then obviously Notre Dame and Stanford, the game that everybody will be watching, especially the Miami Hurricane fans, as Notre Dame is almost a 32-point favorite against the Cardinal. Stanford's been playing some decent ball. This is a big number for Notre Dame to cover on the road. This is a 10:30 kickoff, so late night affair. For me, guys, here and for my money, it's a Notre Dame team total or nothing, but this will be a pass as well. I could see the angle where, you know, a lot of people look at what Notre Dame did against Syracuse, very similar, kind of in that direction where they're playing an unequipped foe to take them down, and they had 21 points before they even touched the ball. But for me, guys, I think that Notre Dame's going to literally dot the I. They don't want to leave any doubts. They will keep adding to that scoreboard, but they also want to stay healthy. So if Stanford, you know, Notre Dame could be up 37, 38 points. And Stanford gets a late backdoor cover here in this game. So I'm going to stay away from it outside of maybe looking at Notre Dame team total, which right now, if you do want to get involved with the Fighting Irish points, which I think is very inflated because of what happened last week, you'd have to lay 38.5, 39.5, or even 40 to get something respectable, which I do think they'll be right around that here in this spot against the Cardinal. Okay, so that's it, guys. Let me recap the best bets. Appreciate you all tuning in. Good luck out there. Let's cash some tickets. The best bets, we're taking Ohio State, Michigan, first half under 22.5. Tennessee, Vanderbilt going over 65.5, and South Florida, Rice, we're going to go over 58.5 as my final official play. All right. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe down below, and we'll see you all tomorrow for the NFL on Sunday. Cheers.